Okay, guys, this is not getting any easier for me to do. Welcome back. It's episode 8 of Growing Pains with Jess, because growing older and wiser is hard flipping work. We've changed locations today. It's beautiful. The sun is shining. I thought we'd take it outside, and I'm joined today with Leanne.
Hello.
And Leanne is I think you're my oldest best friend. We go way...
Oldest as in...
Yes,
duration.
Yes, yeah. Not actual age, just duration.
Let's get that straight.
Yes,
yeah.
Duration of relationship. It's been going on. We met at school. Mm-hmm. Actually, should we say how we met? Because, I mean, it's a bit cringe for me.
I was going to say, I'd like to know what your perception of it was.
Leanne, look, you were a pretty cool girl at school. You were pretty cool. I was not. And I remember seeing you around, because we were in different halves of the year, so our paths didn't cross until year 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And when I found out you were in my science class, the second you walked into that room, I was like, Leanne! Come sit with me! Literally, we'd never spoken before.
One memory before that, which was in the enrichment week, when everyone else pissed off to... Can we swear on here?
Yeah,
okay,
of course.
Cool. Went to like Germany and France or whatever.
Yeah.
And we stayed back and did a drama day. And I was on the stage, and I distinctly remember it's when I had my coloured jean face. So
it was a good face.
I think I was wearing yellow jeans and a black top. And I was sat on the stage, and you went, Leanne, looking so cool. And I literally was like, this girl is fucking weird.
Leanne, it's me.
Hello. I was just like, okay, all right, thanks.
I actually did. I did not play it cool with you at all. And look, I'm embarrassed to say it, but look, I obviously clearly young Jess knew.
You obviously knew.
I knew.
Because I feel like from that first day in science, I don't remember now a day when we weren't just glued to each other's
Exactly. It was an instant, like, you're now my best friend.
Yeah,
okay.
Literally, it was like, okay, so you're now my life. That's great.
See, it works, baby.
It did, yeah. Well done.
Every guest that I have on, I say a nice little thing about them. I'm like, you should give a fuck about this person, because
Mm-hmm.
You should give a fuck about Leanne, because I swear to God, if anyone can do anything in life, it's Leanne. Anything you put your mind to, and you put your mind to lots of things, because, babe, you are rampant ADHD.
Yeah.
You succeed, and not just succeed, you do extraordinarily well. I always remember one of my earliest memories of this is science, because I'm pretty sure you were predicted a lot lower than what you end up.
Predicted, you said I was lucky to get a C.
There we go. And what did you get? Like an A star?
An A star.
And that is just so you.
Only because I was in love with the teacher.
You were. And that was another... I mean, Mr. Pies a fuck. You were a little bit of something. However...
Yeah.
So that's what I always take inspiration. I admire you for your just like tenacity. You just get on with things. You just like...
I think
you put your mind to it.
Very high level of perfectionism.
Right, so it's all unhealthy.
Yeah, well, I would just say I don't do well with failure.
Yeah.
So I aim high.
Yeah.
And I would say I'm very resilient.
Yes, you are.
So like, even if things go wrong 9 times, I will always try for the 10th.
Yeah.
I won't give up.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's good to know when to give up.
Maybe. But not just that. I'm not just going to go on your kind of achievements and your determination stuff. You are just a truly lovely human being. And also because we both live by ourselves, which is, it's really nice to have another friend in that situation.
Absolutely.
I love that you love your own company, and you're so independent, and you're so like, any societal expectations of you're like, nah, I'm alright.
I'm all good.
And it's just so nice to have someone in the exact same boat.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah.
Now, because I would say actually the majority of my friends are single.
Yeah.
But all of them are actively trying to change that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why? Why would you want to? I've got no interest. I can't tell you how little interest I have in being with anyone. If anything, I feel like it would be a bit of a burden on my life.
Really?
And this is what I mean. I'm just like, I think because I love my own company so much that the thought of having to spend even an ounce of my time with someone that like on a regular basis, I'm just like, oh, that just sounds exhausting.
Indefinitely.
Oh wow.
There's no end point unless you were like, do you know what, I'm gonna give this a month and then you're out, pal.
Well, I think a month's That's being generous. No.
I love that we've come to this topic first, because Leanne was saying to me, like, do you prepare anything? I was like, not anymore. I just, like, wherever it goes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that is an interesting part about you, is you are hyper independent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I love that for you.
Yeah.
Should we talk about your sexuality? Because we went from a man,
Yeah.
and then we went to a woman for a bit.
Yeah.
Where are we at now?
I would say, I mean, I don't know what all the lingo is nowadays, but I think I identify most with pansexual.
Yeah, same.
Which
yeah.
is just like, if it's what I think it is, I'm just attracted to personality.
Yeah.
Don't really care, gender, whatever.
Yeah.
Or asexual.
No one.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I would say I get like a really kind of good vibe with people where I think, oh yeah, like you're really nice. I think my kind of Achilles heel in terms of relationships is that I like people that I know there's no chance that I'm ever going to be with them, so that's why I can like them. If there was a chance that I could be with them, instant ick. So like I like really inappropriate people, like I can't even think of an example, but it'll be like
a priest.
Yeah, do you know, a monk. I'll be like, yeah,
Archbishop of
me and
Canterbury.
him would get along really well. Like just people in like professional situations where I'm like the patient.
Yeah.
It would be a real big kind of conflict of interest for anything to happen between us. So I think, great,
Yeah.
me and you. But then I would say I do draw the line. I do not like married people.
yeah. You ain't no
home
homewrecker.
No, absolutely
No.
not. If anything, I'm the opposite.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
be sending hey girly texts being like, do you know your husband
Yeah.
is doing this?
Girl.
So yeah, just so you know.
100%.
Yeah, I feel like everyone feels the girls are just inherently more attractive than boys.
Yeah.
They're just prettier beings than boys. I don't really look at boys and think. I'm really also really bad where I don't call people men and women. I call them girls and boys. I don't know why. But I think it's because I don't identify as a woman, I identify as a girl.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
We're teenagers.
That's what I mean. I
We're
think I'm still like,
girlies.
in my head, I'm still 14.
Yeah.
But I feel like I look at girls more.
Yeah.
Because I just think they're prettier.
Yeah.
But I think personality-wise, after my dalliance into the female relationship, I feel like I'm not emotionally. I think I'm too emotionally inept to be with a female.
I get it.
Yeah.
To be fair, there is a massive difference.
There is, and I feel like I came out of that relationship feeling bad for men, and I don't want to feel like that.
No, let's not feel bad.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
No.
I don't want that to be my life. Like,
I mean, I feel like, you might have had an extreme case.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. But I am also the kind of person that I've had one case, and I'm like, well, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's me
I
now.
tried,
Yep.
and I did not buy.
Literally, I go on one day, and I'm like, well, that's me done for the next 2 years. So, fantastic. Yeah, great.
Didn't you go on a date semi-recently?
Semi-recently. This is actually top secret. No one really knows.
Oh,
that
we
I
don't
did.
have to talk about
I don't
that.
mind.
Oh, okay.
No one I know.
Let's
Like, my
go
mum's
for
not
it.
going to listen, so let's be real.
Big up Caroline.
Big up Kaza. I went on a date semi-recently, and honestly, it was just. I would say.
Who was it with? Boy or girl?
A boy.
Yeah.
I would say I am, not to sound like an absolute wank, but I would say I'm quite an easy person to talk to. I can talk to anyone about anything.
And we'll get into this later because you have a job where you literally have to do that.
I do, yeah. And I would say, like, someone can give me a tidbit of information and I'm like, fantastic, tell me exactly how much you like horses and used to ride them when you were 6 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will get interested in it. I like hearing about people's interests. I can't tell you how difficult it was to try and have a two-way conversation with this person, which I was like, for me to find it difficult. Is saying something.
What do you mean? He just spoke too much?
No, he didn't speak
he didn't
at all.
speak at all. Oh, fuck me.
So, like, I would be like, like,
that's
tell
even
me
more
about your
painful.
job. And he'd be like, just do this. And I'd be like, okay. Well, my job.
Yeah.
Like,
In case you were wondering.
Yeah, exactly. It was just very awkward. And, like, I think when you get to, like, 30... and like you talk about this a lot, where like your 20s are like your training ground, and I think your 20s you spend a lot of your time finding out what it is in life you want to do and what you have an interest in, and I feel that was very apt for me, where when I think I started my 20s working in Sainsbury's and finished my 20s working towards my dream job, which we will talk about later, but I just feel like when people have no ambition when they get to the age of 30, it just makes me think like, so what is the plan? And I feel like I really got that from him, where it was just like he wasn't working at Sainsbury's, but it was the equivalent of just working at Sainsbury's, which for some people fine, but it's just not for me.
Yeah,
like I want to be with someone that's like really passionate about their job, has a real interest.
I really hope these children cannot be heard on this. Like, what is happening? Why is there a stampede of children?
And why there's so many?
And why are they so loud?
Yeah.
Should we scream back?
Yeah.
Shut up! Yeah, little shits.
I'm so
very
confused.
maternal, me and Leanne are. Very maternal.
Absolutely.
I mean, we talk about having children all the time. We're like, God, I can't wait.
Surprisingly, I don't have any kids.
Yeah, it's surprising for me as well.
I do want a baby.
Do you?
Yeah, I think because I'm now an auntie to the world's cutest child on the planet. Obviously, I'm not biased. But I really feel, and I think because of my job as well, I feel like I know what I could do to be a good mum.
Oh my God, this is new. Okay, right, so we need to talk about your jobs now, I think. We need that context.
I mean, where do I start? So, I mean, I guess my background is in psychology. That's what my studies are in. And then from there, I now work for... it's part of West Sussex County Council, and it's called the Youth Justice Service. So every council has one. So like certain boroughs of London have one, Surrey, everywhere. So my main job is working with young people who are in the criminal justice system, and I meet with them. I do assessments with them that kind of cover their mental health, their kind of upbringing, substance misuse, school, education, and things like that. And then from there, I propose like an intervention. So it would be kind of like identifying the key areas that are maybe causing them to have these kind of like impulsions or this need to commit offences or what we call unsafe behaviour, and then kind of trying to find ways to like counteract them in a more positive way, to kind of like build like pro-social capital rather than like offending capital. So yeah, it's quite intense.
Yeah.
But it's very rewarding. I spend my days just hanging out with mainly 15-year-olds and
learning the lingo,
all the lingo down. It's quite fun, but it can be quite harrowing. I think especially when you're reading about like the worst parts of someone's life, and these kids are like so young, and they've had such a hard start to life, and it's quite frustrating, I guess, because it's just kind of like that could have been anyone. They've just been dealt a bad deck of cards to start with, and it's trying to kind of let them see that that's not how their life has to be, I guess, like there is other ways.
And that's so difficult, because I mean, we know firsthand, don't we, like when you're a kid and shit is going on, it's really hard to imagine a universe where that doesn't exist. And
I think like I think I have to like remind myself sometimes, like, and back when we were kids, like the things that we were dealing with, and I have to think like I've only been on that earth for 11 years at that point, like 11 years.
Yeah, we were so young.
Do you know what I
world?
mean? And like some of these kids, I think like I have lived your life twice. Like I am double your age, but for you right now, this is like the biggest thing, and you can't even see like another way out of it. But I can understand it completely, but equally I'm like, you've got so much more to come. Like this isn't your life. Like school is such a small percentage. Small. Like by the time you're 16, 18, whatever it is now, that's you done. And then you've got like 70 years potentially of no education, if that's what you choose to do. And it's like so hard to like get these teenagers to kind of see that like it's such a short space of time. I don't know, I don't remember things being as bad as they've got, I guess. Not to get too deep.
Yeah, no. Oh my God, let's get deep.
Let's get real deep.
Yeah.
I'd say the government is failing. But I think there is just this real crisis now. I think there's such a huge mental health crisis. There's such a huge social care crisis. Everyone's passing the buck to someone else. And actually, in the end of the day, in the middle of this is a child
Yes.
that's not getting the support that they need.
And this is what I think people fucking forget. There is
Yeah.
a child. It's a child.
Exactly.
But I mean, certainly my experience, like I actually did briefly speak about this on the podcast last week. You know, the event that happened when I was 9 and, you know,
yeah.
my dad did what he did.
I know.
And, you know, there was, you know, authorities all around us, but
Yeah.
as kids we were completely disregarded.
Yeah.
We were not the focus, or actually, you know, I don't even remember, like, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because also I was traumatised, so, like, I'm sure my memory is a bit
Like,
fuzzy. But certainly I would expect an intervention to have been made. Like, I would have expected, like,
Yeah.
someone to speak to me. Like, how
Even
are
at
things
school,
at
or like
home?
a parent, like a friend's parent
Yeah,
or something.
because
but it
not
just
being funny, if
wasn't-
something as violent as that happened,
Yeah.
you bet that wasn't the first time.
Well, I feel like I've got young people like on my caseload where I've had a very similar upbringing to them, and it just wasn't really. I mean, when I think about some of the stuff that I went through as an 11-year-old, and I think like, God, if I was assessing another young person now and they were telling me this story, I'd be like, God, that's awful. But then I'm like, that
was
is
me.
me.
Yeah.
Like, I remember having to go and do a police interview when I was 11.
That's mad.
And like having to go
Mad.
to some random safe house and talk to a police officer, and I didn't even really know why I was there because I didn't really understand. And like, I just feel like that is traumatic. But then it was almost like that happened. Move on. Don't talk about it.
It's mad, isn't
Yeah,
it? I had the exact
exactly.
same thing. I mean, I had to live with my neighbours for I think a good couple of weeks, because my mum was in hospital recovering.
Yeah.
And my dad was first in custody and then given a restraining order while the court case was going on. And
It's like
it just happens.
Exactly.
No one ever told me what the fuck
and no one really
happens.
mentions it afterwards.
No one mentions it.
Yeah, like it's almost like just get on with
It's
it.
fucking mad.
So mad.
This is the thing as well. There's no standardisation
It's
of like
a postcode
quality
lottery.
of care, or
Absolutely.
it's so unfair.
So unfair. Like, so I used to work in CAMS.
Yeah.
For the
Should we say what CAMS is, just for people who don't
like
understand?
children's mental health services?
Yeah.
But I was in a very distinct area of CAMS that deals with, and I feel like I'm going to get so much hate for this, deals with the ADHD and autism assessments, which, as we all know by the news, the waiting lists are about 4 years long. But again, that depends on where you live. So it could be that some young person is on our waiting list and has been on our waiting list for 2 years and probably has another 2 years to go, but then their families could decide to move to, like, I don't know, Cornwall, and the waiting list, they're at the top. So it really depends on where you live, your, like, the environment you're in, I guess, because, yeah, it just depends on, like, social standing, I guess, and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're growing up in a kind of a richer area, you probably don't have as much people waiting for it because maybe their families can afford to pay to go private.
Privately. Yeah.
Whereas if you're in an area where there's a lot more kind of people living on the breadline and relying on the NHS, then it just means that waiting list is just getting longer.
And also, let's be fucking real, no waiting list should ever be anything near 4 years.
and like,
That's insane.
let's be real, the reason it is because there's no funding.
Yes.
Nothing used to bother me more when
Just-
we used to get parents that would email in and copy in the MP with the intention of them having a go at us for the waiting list. And I'd be like, listen, hun,
Babe,
we're not the problem
speak to
here.
your MP about this.
And I honestly, if it wouldn't mean that I'd get fired, I really wanted to sometimes reply and be like, oh yes, whilst he's here, let's ask him, shall
Could
we?
you please lobby your government?
Honestly, because like, I can't tell you how small that team is, because that's all. I was bank there, so
Yeah.
they weren't even paying me as a full-time person.
Yeah.
I was on a 0-hour contract. They had no money. They were paying pretty much half of the team were bank. It's such a small team, and I would say they had over, like, almost double probably what other services had in terms of waiting times, but there was just no funding for it. But why would they fund it when they could also, people could be diagnosed the private way and they can get paid?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
why would they fund it? Like, it's intentionally underfunded.
Of course it is. Of course it is. It's an active choice.
Exactly.
And that's what I don't think people understand.
No, I have to say, I try and not read the news because I get too depressed.
Yeah.
So I just try and
Well,
not.
you are immersed in bad news.
I mean, my whole day is just
bad
from
news.
reading about trauma to trauma
Yes.
to trauma.
Yes.
Arrests.
Yeah.
Police interviews. The whole lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like once I've logged off.
Oh, babe. Maturing is realising that we should not immerse ourselves in news.
I just can't. And like
Like,
I think as well.
It's just...
You learn. I think it was during COVID when I realised, like, oh, the newspapers are biased.
Wait
and
a
they
minute.
pick what they publish.
They're all owned by multi-millionaire, billionaire twats.
So I feel like it took me until then, because
Yeah.
I never really, again, read the newspaper.
Yeah.
It was only during COVID when
Yeah.
there was nothing else to do. I thought, this is something to look forward to every day. A newspaper. And then I was like, God,
The world is on fire.
well, this is it. And I was like, well, of course they're only going to talk about the bad stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, like, there is a lot of good stuff happening as well.
Of course.
But I feel like you kind of end up having to just find it yourself.
Yes.
And that's what I try and do with my job. I try and be the good thing
Yeah.
for some of these young people. So
That
like,
gives me goosebumps.
yeah, which I feel like, I mean, and like, it can be something I mean, I probably single-handedly funding the whole of the West Sussex McDonald's franchise at this point. I can go to McDonald's upwards of 4 times a day, and I'm never getting anything. I'm only buying stuff for the young people.
And they're loving it.
They absolutely love it. But for them, that is like a real highlight. That's something they really look forward to.
sure.
And it's a real kind of pep for their day.
Yeah.
Even something as small as, like, if they've done well in, like, I don't know, they've gone to school for a week. I'm like, amazing, let's celebrate it. Like, what do you want to do? Let's go and get McDonald's. Just because I want them to know that someone's, like, in their corner rooting for them.
And someone's
like,
noticed.
Someone's noticed.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, I've got young people that, like, barely go to school. So when they do go to school, I'm like, that's huge. Like, amazing. Well done. Like, can you imagine how anxiety-provoking that would be? To, like, not go somewhere for a long period of time and then walk back in and everyone's looking at you. And
Yeah, because kids will look at you.
Exactly.
If you were to go back to work, because I went back to work after a period of 4 months off in my last job, and people pretend they don't actually see you.
Oh, absolutely.
People literally like, all right.
I mean, you've
whereas
done better
kids
than
will be
me.
like,
I've never gone back.
I wish I hadn't fucking gone back. I'll tell you that for free.
I know. And it makes you think as well, like, why would I have not done that?
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
yeah.
it's like when I think about some of these young people that a lot of their issues might be that their parents have a very acrimonious relationship, which I'm like,
What does that mean?
like there's no love lost, like they just don't like each other.
Yeah,
very
got you.
tense,
I feel like I should have known that. Yeah.
very bitter.
Yeah. Which is fantastic for children to witness.
And I mean, there's sometimes when I have to, like, because we do what we call, like, core group meetings, where it would be, like, all the professionals involved with a young person will meet together, and it would be, like, the social worker, youth justice, CAMS if they're involved, things like that. And, like, there'd be times when both the parents will come and they will just be arguing, and I have to almost be like, well, no wonder.
Yeah.
This child is having such a difficult
What did you
time.
fucking expect?
When there's just this level of communication where it's just, like, anger and, like, quite vicious,
Yeah.
like, kind of, like, to and
Yeah.
fro and, like, tit for tat and all that. And it's just really... And the kids almost become, like, the adult in the situation and, like, being used like a pawn to get back at each other. And I just feel like... I mean, that was me. I think that is very common with children that their parents divorced when they were younger. And I feel like I could have easily gone into, like, a life of low-level crime.
Easy. I mean, mate, I was shoplifting like a little twat from age 12
Your
to
shoplifting
14.
stories make me so nervous.
There was this one time I was on a particular roll, and I'm talking like I was stealing hundreds of pounds worth
Yeah,
of
like
stuff.
you were quite prolific.
I was prolific. I really was. I mean, I really hope my mother doesn't
If you were
hear this, but yes.
If you were a child now, you would be on my caseload.
Oh, listen, babe, I was banned from Crawley Mall.
Yeah, literally.
I was banned. And I remember my mum took me like a couple of weeks later to get new school shoes
you're
or
like, I
something.
can't go
And I was
there.
literally like, the whole time, I was like looking at security guards like, fuck. But anyway, I stole a lot of stuff. I was in a shop and I stole some clothes and they fucking clocked it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because I got too cocky.
And you had your stereo bag, didn't
I had my stereo. I loved that bag,
Yeah,
and I had my digital camera in it as well.
Yeah.
And I basically, they were like, "Where's the bag? Where's the bag?" So I dumped the fucking bag.
Yeah.
Ran off.
and
And
lesson
learned. Did I stop there? No, I didn't. Because I can assure you, anyone who has been a shoplifter as a kid, it's very fucking hard to get out of.
Well, I can imagine as well if you're used to not paying for things, so have to go back to paying for things.
And I remember it really took me a really long time to be like, oh fuck, the ethical thing to do is to buy this.
Yeah.
Like, because I'd be like, but I could just put it in my bag.
It's very hard. Very hard. But I tell that story to a lot of my young people where I'm like, I have a friend that lost her bag with a lot more value in it. Like,
literally, there was probably, that was so sad.
And like, I just feel like, God, like, your mum thought you were somewhere completely different. Yeah. And like, we did that so much. All the time. Like, I'll be like to my mum, oh, I'm going to Jess's house, and we'll actually just be pissed on Brighton Beach somewhere.
Mate. Can we talk about Brighton Beach days?
Brighton Beach days were like honestly, I don't think I've ever had a better time.
Honestly.
I can't think of a better time in my life.
We should specify, we grew up in different areas, but like we're kind of in between London and Brighton, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're closer to the Brighton end, but we're almost on that line. If you were to draw a line, we're sort of
in between.
Yeah. And Brighton Beach, I mean, everyone else used fields, and we did do fields for a bit, but then we stretched our ambitions further to Brighton Beach, getting pissed.
There was
15
one
years
night,
old.
and anyone that grew up with us at the same time will remember this night. The Midnight Beast.
Oh my God, iconic.
A band that had one hit where it was just a spoof of Kesha's TikTok.
Yeah.
And they were meant to be doing a live performance on Brighton Beach. Yeah. From this day, I still don't actually know if they ever went.
I have no idea. Was it shut down? I don't know. But like thousands upon thousands of children pissed out of their
Absolutely.
mind.
And like, I mean, we're talking like the whole of year, I think we were in year 10.
Yeah.
But there was like the whole of our year, the whole of the year above, the whole of the year below, of multiple schools. So like, we're talking all the schools in probably the whole of West Sussex, Mid Sussex, East Sussex. Everyone was there.
It was the social occasion of the year, of the decade.
Like, just picture Brighton Beach on a busy summer's day, but all 15 and 16-year-olds. Like,
stumbling over each other, vomiting.
Buying alcohol from a
straight
shop.
Vodka.
Honestly, pack of 20 cigarettes.
Was that the day that we saw all of our teachers out at a bar as well? Was that a different day? Because that was also a fun day.
That was also a fun day.
So fun.
Oh God, honestly, that was just such a wild time.
Loved it.
I loved it.
Loved it.
But like, I feel like that's what was lost when we turned 18. It's like as soon as we turned 18, everyone went clubbing.
Yeah.
Whereas I was still very much in like, I want to just carry on having the house parties and having the Brandon times drunk in a field.
How would you describe yourself as like a teenage Leanne? How would you describe yourself?
I had eras.
Oh, you had eras. We had emo girl.
So like year 7, year 8, I was full blown emo. Year 9, I would say I went complete like Avril Lavigne emo into like bleach blonde, so orange, like
foundation lips.
But I would say they were like my thriving years.
Oh yeah,
I loved year 9. Year 9 was like peak for me. Honestly, that is like my happiest time.
Yeah.
And then year 10, I would say that's when me and you became friends. Or like around then anyway.
Which I would say was also your peak.
Was also my
peak.
Yeah. But I would say year 10 was more like refining my friendships.
Yes.
Year 9, I was friends with like everybody. College, awful.
Yeah.
I would say college was the worst time of my life. I hated college.
I mean, babe, the worst time of your life?
Okay, no. But worst time of my life, education-wise. Okay, I think started from college and finished after I finished my undergrad. I've got a real thing about I hate growing up.
Yeah.
And I loved being a child, which is weird because I had a very traumatic childhood.
Yeah.
But I think I loved the innocence of childhood.
Yeah.
I loved the carefreeness of childhood. I loved school, and I was always so aware when I was at school that these days were numbered. And that's why
so bizarre.
It's so weird. And so I was really like, didn't like calling in sick, because I'd be like, one day I'm going to be really annoyed at myself that I didn't make the effort to go. Right,
you study psychology. Why is it that people who had traumatic childhoods are so hyper aware of time passing?
I guess you're almost, I feel like I was almost frozen. Like I was almost kind of like, I need to take this all in because sometimes actually the good things don't last. And I know
because we're so aware of how temporary good times and good things are.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to do with maybe where you feel like you've not really been able to live your childhood, so you want your childhood to last for a bit longer. But I just feel like I was so aware, and I remember being absolutely devastated when I left both primary school and secondary school because I was like, they were just such great times. And then when I got to college, I was like, this is not the same. And I remember being really unhappy, because I was just like, this just isn't how I knew my life to be. And I just really didn't like college.
Yeah, and we went to different colleges as well, so that was sad. Although I did sneak into your college a few times to do art.
You come to the art class.
Just like,
again, wild.
Yeah,
like,
I just popped in.
They were just like, yeah, just come in. Yeah, absolutely fine. And like the teachers would be coming in. I'd be like, she's in another class.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, and things felt a lot more serious as well. Like I felt like we had a lot of pressure on us. Like
I think for me, I don't know what it was. I just really didn't. I think as well, like I just really wanted. I was in such a happy bubble. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wasn't that happy at school. I had very much a split personality in that I had like my really happy, outgoing social life, and then I had my very disordered, emotional, mental health life. But no one knew about that, and I kept that very much under lock and key. But I was in such a happy social bubble when I was at school that I wanted everyone to just stay in that bubble and like everyone to stay the same. And then when we went to college, obviously things changed. People were getting older. People were kind of doing more stuff, that wanting to go clubbing and stuff like that. And I was like, I just really want to have a go into a random field for a bottle of Lambrini.
Can we just keep doing the fun
Do you know what I
things?
mean? Like, it just like, yeah, I don't know. I think I just really I mourned my childhood.
That's really interesting that you were so hyper, because I have this very clear memory of what I hated turning 10 because I felt when I turned 10 I was like, oh my god, I'm no longer in single digits, like I'm 10 now.
I'm so old.
I'm so old. And I remember another time, and I think it was my 13th birthday, I could no longer slide down the slide. My bum and hips got too big and I cried on my birthday.
Well, it's like that thing they say, like sometimes like your parents pick you up and put you down, and that was the last time they would pick you up and put you down. You're right there, Frankie. You're my emotional support animal today.
He's like, it's okay.
He's literally bigger than me.
It's nice that Frank's joining this time, because usually I don't allow him, but this is fine.
I feel like,
That's so interesting that, like, because I don't feel people actually ever talk about the transition from like secondary school to like.
No, and I feel like for a lot of people, school for them was like a really horrible time.
Yeah.
Or like they just like, oh, I'm so happy school's done. Whereas for me, it was just the opposite.
Can I ask you a deep question though?
Of course.
Do you feel that you loved school, or did you feel that school was a facade of a happy life?
I think
you wanted
school
to hold
was
on
a
to
facade
that?
of a happy life, absolutely. And I would say I have lived my life from then onwards trying to recreate that time. So when I'm in jobs where like I get along a lot with like all of my colleagues, I'm like, this is just like being back at school. Yeah. So like I worked at Sainsbury's for 5 years because it was literally like being at school. Because we would just piss about the whole time and it was great. And then when it kind of stopped being like school, I was like, I just don't like it anymore.
It's just lost that little
But the difference is I could just leave. But yeah, I don't know. I just loved school.
I was the same. I remember like, I mean, I don't know if you remember me much prior to us being friends, but I was very different.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
I took a massive fucking.
I have to say, I didn't like Year 8 Jess.
Oh, bitch, neither did I.
No.
She was horrible.
So for me. So Jess cut her hair in Year 10.
Yeah.
And that was around the time we became friends. So for me, long hair Jess is not my friend.
Oh, no.
Short hair Jess is my friend.
Hell yeah, I love that.
But we did become friends when you had long hair. But it was about, so it would have been September time when we became friends. It was December when you cut your hair.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because I remember I had quite long hair, but I just... To give some context to anybody else, when I was at school, when I started school, I was friends with just wrong people, like just not very nice people. Look, I'm sure. Look, we're all adults now. They might be lovely people now.
Yeah.
We all change, but at that time, those people were not nice. They were bullies. I wouldn't say I was ever an instigator of bullying, but I certainly stood by and let it happen.
Yeah.
And I just, do you know what's so weird? I actually don't think I've really told like anyone about this, but I had this time where I was looking in the mirror, and it was the school holidays, which I hated. I don't know if you related. I hated school holidays because it meant more time. And it meant more time at home, and home was bad for me.
To be fair, I didn't really spend much time at home during the school holidays. I would just sofa surf.
Oh, but you remember my mum never let me leave the fucking house, so it was weird. She liked to keep me confined in that little prison. But I remember looking in the mirror, and I looked so sad, and I didn't even recognise myself. I just looked like a broken, teenager, and I just, in that moment, it's so fucking weird. Like, if I believed in God, I would say that it was like God spoke to me, and it was like I instantly in that moment knew that I was going to go into media, and I instantly knew I had to change my life around now. And that was when I basically cut off all of those people. And I came back to school, and I was just like, this is time for new me. And I remember I cut off all those people. They did not like that, obviously. And I remember I used to I blocked them off like MSN and fucking texting and stuff. Bebo. But they would email me, because that's what people that's how bullying was fucking resorted to.
Oh god. Well, you didn't have enough characters to text.
And it would just be loads of exclamation marks, like, no, you bitch. I've still got some of them, actually. I kept them for the fans. And the bullying, the bullying kind of started, and I remember I was in this really tricky space where, like, because I was friends with such horrible people didn't like me. And I remember I had a period, like, and I don't know if you remember this, but I did not have any friends. I had to eat lunch with, the music teacher, Mr. Sidebotham. Big up Mr. Sidebotham. I ate lunch with him. Because it was either that or I'd be in the toilet by myself. To be fair, the person, big up Georgie Allen. Georgie Allen was my segue into nice friendships, because we did swimming together. And so she knew that I wasn't a dickhead like everyone else thought I was.
I think that I remember her being friends with you. And I was friends.
And I started little by little, I sort of started like convincing people, like, no, I promise I'm nice now. And I think cutting my hair was symbolic of, like, because all the girls that I was friends with, they were kind of almost, would you call them it girls? They were sort of like, they were pretty, they wore nice clothes, they like.
I would always say there was like different cohorts at school, and it wasn't like Mean Girls where it's like the jocks and whatever, but I would say there was like the nice populars, the mean populars.
And they were the mean populars.
And do you know what I mean? And like there was like the sub nice populars, the sub mean populars, and like.
But they all kind of looked the same. They had a uniform. It was like we wore the same things. And I remember bags,
like Paul's boutique bags.
And I had one. Look, I had one. I loved that bag. But anyway, I think cutting my hair was a symbol of like, because I now looked completely different to everyone. It was a symbol of like, no, I promise I've changed.
And you had it bright red.
Dyed it bright red, cut it all off, like Rihanna style, and started wearing funky clothes. But that's, I think, why I was so attracted to you, because you seemed to have a real sense of self and individuality.
I never went with what the cool kids were doing.
Oh, school was really, really fun. I think, it was a good escape for both of us.
Yeah, I loved it.
And I actually do still think we need to bring back, I was playing a video of myself to someone yesterday. Of me at 21, so it wasn't even like, I was super young. But he was like, you are the same person. You still are silly and have that sense of humour. And I really wish that everyone kept their silly sense of humour that we had at school, because school was fun. We were. I'm not saying we all need to be silly, immature, but I just think we had a great sense of humour and we didn't take ourselves too seriously.
Oh, God, no.
I wish, I think actually the whole grow up is a fucking scam.
Wow.
I think it's a scam perpetrated.
Now we're here.
By capitalist ideology.
Big grow-upper.
Yeah. I want to be a baby. I'm still a baby.
I am baby. I'm a little baby princess.
I'm baby. Mm-hmm. And I actually do think this grow up thing is really sad and damaging, and we grow up far too fucking soon. And
Which is why I think I thrive in my job, because I'm around teenagers who tell me their drama, and I'm like, oh my God, tell me everything.
So he did what?
Yeah, literally.
He texted who? Yeah. And back onto kids. I feel like we diverted from the first question.
Absolutely.
Do you know what? I'm very open with you. I don't want kids. Biologically. I'd never say never, but I cannot see myself wanting kids, because mentally, obviously I have, hereditary conditions. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't massively want to pass that on to anyone. nor would I want to see the effects of what pregnancy could do to my brain.
Well, yeah.
But something that I've always thought is a real possibility is adopting an older kid. Like, I'm talking like 12, 13. A kid that's in a fucking shitty place.
Yeah.
And, like, I suppose it's the kids that you're dealing with.
And I can't tell you how many of them I wish I could just take home.
Yeah. Because you know that they are beautiful human beings that have just had no fucking...
And, like, I think I've got quite a lot of patience with them, which I think comes from the fact that I know I'm not their parent.
Yeah.
And I can imagine
you're not
if
full-time.
you are their foster parent or adoptive parent and you've got this child that is very angry at the world, it would be very challenging,
Exhausting.
especially if you've got other kids as well. But I often think, like, I wish I could just be like, just come to my house for tonight.
Yeah.
And, like, I've got quite a calming flat.
Yeah, you have. It's a beautiful flat.
And it's very chilled. I'm not a massive drinker or anything like that. So then there's not, like, loads of alcohol in the place that I would have to worry about. And a lot of these kids will just be like, oh, I wish I'd just come and live with you. And I'm like, I actually wish you could come and live with me. But unfortunately, my job doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see both of us doing adoption.
Me too.
Or fostering.
I think actually we should make, if you want to come back, I think we should actually another time have an episode where we talk about a bit more about things we've gone through and maybe like our mental health, because you are the most mental person I know, and I'm possibly one of the most mental people. Oh well, actually no, you know lots of mental people. Yeah, not anymore. But like it's always been very nice to have you because we have truly understood each other.
It's almost like whatever I'm going through, she's going through.
Yeah. I like, okay, this is crazy. Leanne's definitely gone through this too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think we could apply. I just think we would be great with dealing with a kid that.
Yeah, and I think like with mental health, every mental health issue is different, but I feel like they've all got similar kind of cause in some way. Like not every single one, but I think like things like addiction go hand in hand with eating disorders. Things like bipolar go hand in hand probably with something else. Do you know what I mean?
Impulsion
like, exactly. Like I think there's there's a lot of times when I'm working with young people where I've not directly gone through their situation, but I can, from a different perspective, understand how that might make them feel.
1,000,000%.
And usually I find myself saying a lot of the time, like, I think I would feel like this. Is that how you feel? Or like, tell me if I'm wrong. And normally they're like, yeah, that's exactly it. So, yeah.
All they want to do is just be heard. And I feel like all we want to do is just be heard.
Exactly. And I feel like that's one thing that I think I am really capable of now. Is like when a young person's talking to me, I don't feel like I need to fill the conversation. I can just sit there and let them talk. They don't give a shit about me. Kids, and I think every kid is meant to be self-centered. That is what they're meant to be. They are meant to be the centre of their universe. So when I talk, they're literally like, can you stop talking? Because I'm talking. And I'm like, okay, so like they don't care about me, but that's fine. I just want to be their sounding board, you know what I mean? And then hopefully I want to be their person when they're like 20, 25. They think back and think, oh yeah, do you remember that girl that like really listened to me that one time? And actually now because of that, like that helped me do this. Do you know what I mean?
Babe, you are already making that impact. Already.
I don't know if that sounds really, what's the word, like narcissistic to be like, I want people to know that I've changed their lives.
I'm not being funny, babe. We're on this planet for basically no reason.
Absolutely.
We might as well be here to change people's lives.
I think it's like you've got your therapist who you have a very good relationship with, and I've had people in my past when I think back and think they were there at the exact point that I needed them, and that I look back and think, because of you, I'm still alive. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Outside of my family, like my mum. There's like certain professionals that I would never probably see again, and I always say, same with my job now, I hope I never do see you again. But that I credit to be like, because you were the understanding person, or because you were the person that actually waited to hear what I had to say, or things like that, or took the time to listen, that I'm actually still...
You saw me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of beautiful?
Yeah.
Oh! I mean, babe, it's getting a bit cold. The sun has gone in, but I feel like that's a really gorgeous time to stop. I mean, we could talk. We could have an entire podcast together. To be honest,
I was going to say there's 15 years worth.
Oh, babe, we haven't even got started. But I love hearing about your work. I think it's so fucking interesting, and like you should be so proud of yourself because You're fantastic. You know you
Well,
are.
so-
You know you are. Oh, Frank is also.
Yes.
Frank says it's time to leave, but
Frankie,
thank you so
Frankie.
much for listening. And I'll see you next week for episode 9. Big up.
Woo!
Thanks, babe.
No worries. Thank you.